Welcome to this deep dive. You know all about the microbiota. So it seems like you've been hearing a lot about it lately, and you're ready to kind of go beyond the basics, right? We're going to really explore this hidden universe living inside us, and trust me, it's way cooler than it sounds. We've got an interview with Dr. Marie Dolores de la Porta. She is really a leading expert who really knows her stuff. I'm excited to unpack this with you.
What's truly mind-blowing is that we're more microbe than human.
Whoa.
We
Got
have
it.
trillions of bacteria, viruses, fungi, and other microorganisms living in and on our bodies. It's like a whole bustling city inside us.
So it's not just about gut health then. These microbes are everywhere.
Absolutely. But the gut microbiota is the biggest and most diverse of these microbial cities, and it plays a huge role in our overall health.
All right, so picture this, a massive city teeming with trillions of tiny residents. Where did they all come from? How did our internal city get built in the first place?
Well, it all starts at birth. Think of it like establishing the city's first settlers. Babies born vaginally get their first dose of good bacteria, specifically lactobacillus from their mom's birth canal. It's like inheriting a strong foundation for a healthy city.
So what about those of us born via C-section? Did we miss out on that initial population boom?
Not necessarily. While your initial microbial settlers might be different, the city is constantly evolving. Think of it like a city that welcomes immigrants from all over the world. What you eat, where you live, even your stress levels, all influence who decides to set up shop in your gut.
So even though those first settlers are important, it sounds like we can still reshape our microbial city over time.
Absolutely. And breastfeeding plays a crucial role too. It's like providing those early settlers with the best resources to thrive. Breast milk is packed with bifidobacteria, another key player in a healthy gut, along with prebiotics, which act like fertilizer for these beneficial bacteria.
So if you weren't breastfed, is it like your microbial city started off with a disadvantage? Can you ever really catch up?
It's not about being doomed. Remember, that city is constantly changing. You can still make choices that support a thriving ecosystem. Think back to your own childhood. Did you play outside in the dirt, get up close and personal with pets? Those early exposures all help shape your unique microbial city.
Okay, I'm starting to get the picture. Now, we've got trillions of microbes living rent-free in our gut. What are they actually doing all day? Are they just hanging out?
They're not just lounging around. It's more like a well-coordinated team with different groups specializing in key tasks. Imagine it like this. Your gut is like a bustling city, right?
Right. And each microbe has a job to do to keep things running smoothly.
Exactly. Let's start with the acid lactic bacteria, like lactobacillus. Remember them from the birth canal. Think of them as the city's sanitation workers, maintaining order and balance, keeping those nasty pathogens from taking over.
Okay, so like the essential workers of the microbial city.
Precisely. Then we've got the immune-modulating bacteria, like certain strains of E. coli. Don't let the name scare you, some P. E. coli are actually beneficial. They're like the city's security force, training your immune system to recognize friend from foe. They help keep you safe from invaders.
I never thought of my gut as having its own security detail. This is pretty cool.
And there's more. We have the mucin-nourishing bacteria. Think of them as the city's construction workers. Faecalibacterium prosnitzii and Akkermansia mucinifila. Try saying those 3 times fast. Are two of the key players here. They're responsible for building and maintaining the protective mucus layer in your gut, which is like the gut's internal wallpaper.
So they make sure my gut lining is well protected. That's important.
Absolutely. A healthy mucus layer is crucial for a healthy gut. Then we have the saccharolytic bacteria, the city's waste management team. They break down the fiber we can't digest ourselves, and they produce something really valuable in the process, short-chain fatty acids, or SCFAs.
SCFAs, those sound familiar. Why are they so important?
Think of SCFAs as the currency of your gut city. They're like little energy packets that fuel various functions in your body.
Wow.
And one of the most important SCFAs is butyrate. It's a powerful anti-inflammatory, and it's essential for a healthy gut lining. Butyrate even plays a role in regulating your genes, so it's kind of a big deal.
So it's not just about keeping my gut happy. Butyrate affects my whole body.
Exactly. It's all connected. And we can't forget the neuroactive bacteria. They're like the city's communication specialists. They produce neurotransmitters like serotonin, which plays a role in mood regulation.
Wait, are you telling me my gut bacteria can actually influence my mood? That's crazy.
It might sound crazy, but it's true. It's a two-way street. A disrupted microbiota can worsen stress and mood, and chronic stress, in turn, harms the microbiota. It's like a delicate dance between your brain and your gut.
Okay, my mind is officially blown. So we've got all these different groups working together in our gut. What does this all mean for our overall health? Why should we care about having a diverse microbiota, or in this case, a diverse microbial city?
Think of it this way. A city with a diverse population is more resilient. It can adapt to challenges more effectively. The same goes for your gut. A rich, diverse microbiota can bounce back from disruptions more easily. Remember those antibiotics you had to take a while back? Or that stressful work deadline that kept you up all night? A diverse microbiota helps your gut city weather those storms.
So it's like having a backup plan for when things go wrong.
Exactly. A healthy gut with a diverse microbiota is better equipped to handle whatever life throws your way.
Okay, this is all making so much sense. We've established that a diverse microbial city is a healthy one, but how do we make sure our gut is getting what it needs to thrive? We talked about SCFAs earlier, especially butyrate and how important they are. What's the best way to boost those levels?
You've got to feed those fiber-loving bacteria. Remember the saccharolytic bacteria, our waste management team? They're the ones that break down fiber and produce those precious SCFAs as a byproduct. So load up on those fruits, veggies, legumes, and whole grains.
All right, so basically eating like your grandma told you to. Lots of plants and fiber. What else can we do to support our gut?
Fermented foods are fantastic for your gut. Think of them as probiotics. They're packed with beneficial bacteria that can help diversify your microbial city. Yogurt, kefir, sauerkraut kimchi, kombucha. Try adding a few servings of these to your diet each week.
I love a good kimchi pancake.
Mm.
So we've covered what to add to our diet. What about things to avoid? Dr. De La Puerta mentioned ultra-processed foods and their impact on the microbiota. What's the deal with those?
Ultra-processed foods are like a wrecking ball to your gut. They're full of additives, preservatives, trans fats, and excess sugar. Basically, all the things that disrupt the balance of your microbial city.
So it's like feeding your gut residents junk food instead of nourishing meals. No wonder they get out of whack.
Exactly. This kind of dietary chaos creates inflammation, which can set the stage for a whole host of problems down the road.
Speaking of inflammation, what about artificial sweeteners? I thought those were supposed to be a healthier alternative to sugar.
Artificial sweeteners are tricky. While they may seem harmless because they don't contain calories, they can actually make inflammation worse if your gut is already struggling. They can disrupt the balance of your gut bacteria and contribute to that inflammatory fire we're trying to put out.
So even though they're calorie-free, they're not necessarily a free pass for gut health.
Okay.
Got it. What about red meat? It seems like there's always some debate about whether it's good or bad for you.
Red meat is a bit of a mixed bag when it comes to gut health. It's a great source of protein and nutrients. But overdoing it, especially if your gut is already out of balance, can be problematic.
Okay, so it's not necessarily about cutting out red meat completely, but more about moderation and paying attention to how our gut reacts to it.
Exactly. It's all about listening to your body and finding what works best for you. And this brings us to another important factor that can disrupt the gut: medications.
Yeah, antibiotics are notorious for wreaking havoc on the gut.
Antibiotics are definitely a big one, but they're not the only culprits. Other common medications, like anti-inflammatories, proton pump inhibitors for heartburn, and even hormonal contraceptives, can also have unintended consequences for your gut bacteria.
Wow, I had no idea. So many common medications could affect the microbiota. So if you're taking these medications for a legitimate health reason, is it a lost cause for your gut?
Not at all. It just means it's even more important to focus on supporting your gut health through diet and lifestyle choices. It's like giving your gut city extra support to withstand those external pressures.
That makes sense. So besides diet, what other lifestyle factors can influence the microbiota?
Sleep is huge. When you're sleep deprived, your body doesn't have a chance to repair and rejuvenate, and that includes your gut. Think of it like skipping out on essential maintenance for your gut city.
It's like those all-nighters in college. Not a good look for anyone, especially your gut. And what about stress? Everyone knows that stress can wreak havoc on your body. Does that apply to the gut as well?
Absolutely. Remember that two-way street between your brain and your gut. Chronic stress can disrupt your microbiota, and a disrupted microbiota can in turn worsen stress and mood. It's a vicious cycle.
So managing stress is just as important for our gut health as it is for our mental health. It's all connected. Now, let's dive into the connection between the microbiota and disease. We know that gut health is important, but how exactly does a disrupted gut contribute to disease?
Well, think of it this way. When your gut city is out of balance, it can create chaos that spreads beyond your digestive system. Inflammation and a wonky microbiota are at the root of many common digestive issues like irritable bowel syndrome or IBS.
So what's actually happening in the gut with IBS?
With IBS, inflammation and an imbalance in the gut bacteria can trigger a whole cascade of uncomfortable symptoms: abdominal pain, bloating, diarrhea, constipation, you name it. It's like the city's infrastructure is malfunctioning, leading to all sorts of disruption.
What about more serious conditions like inflammatory bowel disease or IBD?
IBD, which includes conditions like Crohn's disease and ulcerative colitis, involves chronic inflammation in the gut. The microbiota definitely plays a role in fueling that inflammatory fire, making it difficult for the gut to heal and function properly.
So it's not just about treating the symptoms of these diseases, but also addressing that underlying gut imbalance.
Exactly. It's about getting to the root of the problem and restoring balance to that gut city.
Now, this brings us to something Dr. De La Puerta mentioned: food sensitivity testing. What exactly are these tests, and can they be helpful in figuring out what's going on in our gut?
Food sensitivity tests, particularly IgG tests, are designed to measure delayed immune reactions to certain foods. These reactions are often a sign of a gut imbalance, and they can provide some valuable clues about which foods might be contributing to inflammation.
So if a food sensitivity test shows that I'm sensitive to, say, gluten or dairy, does that mean I need to avoid those foods forever?
Not necessarily. Remember, food sensitivities are often a symptom of a bigger problem, an imbalance in the gut. The primary focus should be on addressing that underlying imbalance, not just eliminating foods.
So it's not just about cutting things out, but about healing the gut and restoring balance.
Exactly. And this is where prebiotics and probiotics can be real game changers.
We talked about prebiotics earlier as being like fertilizer for the good bacteria in our gut. What are the best sources of prebiotics?
Resistant starch is a great one. It's found in cooked and cooled potatoes, green bananas, and plantains. It's basically fiber that resists digestion in the small intestine and makes its way to the colon, where it feeds those beneficial bacteria.
So I can actually improve my gut health by eating cold potatoes. That's good news.
You bet. And then there are other prebiotics like inulin and FOS, which are found in foods like onions, garlic, and asparagus. But it's worth noting that these can cause some gas and bloating, especially for people with a gut imbalance.
Okay, so maybe start with small amounts and see how your gut reacts. What about probiotics? There are a million different options out there. How do we choose the right one?
That's the million-dollar question. It's not just about the number of bacteria or CFUs on the label. Different strains of bacteria have different effects on the gut. You want to look for probiotics that contain specific strains that have been studied and shown to be beneficial for the conditions you're trying to address.
So it's not a one-size-fits-all situation?
Not at all. It's like choosing the right team of specialists for your gut city. You want to make sure you're getting the right expertise for the job.
So working with a knowledgeable healthcare professional who can help you navigate the world of probiotics is probably a good idea.
Absolutely. They can help you choose the right probiotic for your individual needs and make sure it's safe for you to take.
Now, besides prebiotics and probiotics, are there any other tools that can support gut health and the microbiota?
Definitely. Omega-3 fatty acids, EPA, and DHA, which are found in fatty fish like salmon and sardines, are well known for their anti-inflammatory properties. They can be incredibly beneficial for overall health, including gut health.
I've been taking fish oil for years, mainly for my brain and heart health. I had no idea it was good for my gut, too. What about other omega fatty acids?
Omega-7 fatty acids are another interesting one. They're found in sea buckthorn oil, and they're really good for supporting the gut lining and improving its barrier function. Remember, we want to keep those tight junctions nice and strong to prevent leaky gut.
Okay, so omega-7s are like reinforcing the city walls of our gut.
Exactly. A strong gut lining is crucial for preventing those unwanted invaders from getting into the bloodstream and causing trouble.
What about glutamine? I've heard that it's good for gut health.
Glutamine can be helpful for repairing the gut lining, but it's important to use it with caution, especially if you have a lot of inflammation. In some cases, it can actually backfire and make inflammation worse.
So it's all about timing and understanding the individual's needs, as with everything else. Dr. De La Puerta also mentioned vitamin D as being crucial for gut health.
Vitamin D is super important. It plays a role in immune function, and it even works synergistically with butyrate, that rockstar SCFA we talked about earlier.
So vitamin D and butyrate are like the dynamic duo of gut health.
Pretty much. Butyrate actually helps activate the receptor for vitamin D, so having enough of both is essential for optimal gut function.
Wow, that's amazing. It really highlights how everything in the body is interconnected.
It truly is. And speaking of exciting developments in the world of gut health, we have to talk about fecal microbiota transplantation, or FMT.
FMT. Okay, I've heard about this, but it sounds a little intense. What exactly is it?
It's a revolutionary therapy that involves transplanting healthy donor stool into someone with a severely disrupted gut. It's basically like giving someone a whole new gut microbiome.
Wow, that's wild. So it's like a total gut reboot.
Exactly. And it's been incredibly successful in treating C. difficile infection, a nasty bacterial infection that can be incredibly difficult to treat with antibiotics alone.
That's incredible. Is FMT being used for other conditions as well?
Right now, it's mainly approved for C. difficile infection in most countries, but researchers are exploring its potential for a wide range of other conditions, from inflammatory bowel disease to obesity and even autism.
It sounds like FMT could be a game changer for so many people struggling with gut-related health issues. What are the biggest challenges with FMT right now?
Safety and donor-recipient compatibility are the main concerns. Scientists are working hard to develop standardized procedures to ensure safety and effectiveness, and to better understand the long-term effects of FMT.
So in the future, we might see FMT becoming a more mainstream treatment option for a variety of conditions.
It's definitely a possibility. The potential is huge, and researchers are excited about the possibilities.
It's incredible to think that we're walking around with these ecosystems inside us, influencing our health in so many ways.
It really changes how we see health and disease.
Yeah.
It's like we're not just individuals, we're interconnected with these, trillions of microbes that are impacting our well-being.
And the coolest part is that we have the power to actually shape these microbial communities through our lifestyle choices.
Oh, absolutely.
It's so empowering to know that we can actually take steps to cultivate a thriving inner ecosystem.
It's not about quick fixes or striving for perfection, right? It's about those gradual, sustainable changes that support a healthy, balanced microbiota.
This deep dive has definitely given me a whole new perspective on gut health.
Yeah.
I used to think it was all about digestion, but now I realize it's so much more than that.
It really is a holistic view of health.
Yeah.
The gut is connected to everything.
Yeah.
Our immune system, our metabolism, our brain, even our emotions.
It's like that saying, listen to your gut.
Right.
Turns out there's a lot of wisdom in that ancient advice.
Indeed. Our gut is constantly sending us signals, and it's up to us to pay attention and respond in a way that supports its well-being.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, what are some of the key takeaways you hope our listener walks away with?
I hope they understand that the microbiota is a powerful force in their health, and that they have the power to shape it through their choices.
Yeah.
From the foods they eat, to the amount of sleep they get, to how they manage stress. Every decision they make has an impact on their gut.
It's a reminder that we're not just passengers on this health journey.
Right.
We're active participants, and we have more control than we might realize.
Exactly. And knowledge is power.
Mm-hmm.
The more we understand about the microbiota, the better equipped we are to make choices that support its health and, in turn, our own well-being.
And remember, this is just the beginning of the journey.
Oh, yeah.
The field of microbiota research is constantly evolving, and there's so much more to discover.
It's an exciting frontier, and I can't wait to see what the future holds.
Yeah.
Who knows what incredible breakthroughs await us as we continue to unlock the secrets of this hidden world within us.
It's mind-boggling to think about the possibilities, but even with what we know now, we have so much power to shape our gut health and influence our overall well-being.
So to our listener, I say embrace the power of your microbiota, nurture, support it, and listen to its wisdom.
Mm-hmm.
It's an incredible ally on your journey to a healthier and happier life.
I love that. And on that note, we'll leave you with this final thought.
Okay.
We've learned that our gut bacteria can even influence our thoughts and emotions.
It's pretty amazing.
What other aspects of our lives might we be able to change if we could intentionally shape our microbiota?
That is a great question, and one that scientists are actively exploring, and the answers could revolutionize how we approach health and well-being.
Right.
The possibilities are truly endless.
Well, thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive into the world of the microbiota.
It's been my pleasure.
We hope you enjoyed it and that you feel empowered to take charge of your gut health.
Until next time, happy gut healing.